Viewers, pay attention, because Blake Lively's carefully curated Hollywood image may be unraveling before our eyes. For years, Blake and her husband Ryan Reynolds have been portrayed as America's golden couple, the picture-perfect parents, the charming, witty duo adored by fans everywhere. But behind the flawless public persona lies a trail of manipulation, deceit, and mounting legal chaos. Just days ago, a major deadline passed in Blake's high-stakes lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, and the result is devastating. The court has cut off her ability to issue broad, random subpoenas. That means she can no longer drag innocent parties into her legal circus unless she proves to a judge that she has a legitimate case, which, based on the evidence so far, she clearly does not. And speaking of subpoenas, Blake targeted 107 different content creators in a desperate hunt for proof that Baldwin's lawyer, Brian Friedman, orchestrated a smear campaign against her. The result? Nothing. Not a single piece of evidence. Months of time, money, and effort wasted chasing a conspiracy that doesn't exist. This isn't just sloppy lawyering. It's a calculated backfire. For months, Blake's legal team boasted of overwhelming evidence they claimed would crush Baldwin, yet 8 months in, they still have nothing. Meanwhile, Justin Baldwin's side remains calm, professional, and focused, letting the facts speak while Blake spirals publicly. And it gets worse. She's been caught manipulating interviews, spinning stories for sympathy, and even using Ryan Reynolds as a shield for her missteps. The mask she's worn for years is slipping, revealing something far less charming than the Hollywood star everyone thought they knew. The critics began noticing as early as 2024, calling her public statements tone-deaf, plugging hair care lines or cocktails while discussing films with serious abuse themes, like It Ends With Us, looked less like empathy and more like marketing. Even older interviews are resurfacing, like a 2016 moment where Blake congratulated someone on a pregnancy that didn't exist, a comment the journalist described as a bullet, a glaring red flag. And now, the legal filings themselves are damning. Blake's complaint alleges a complex web of alleged misconduct, but the court record and public response tell a very different story. A star obsessed with control, spinning narratives to protect her image while the truth quietly builds against her. In short, the facade of the sweet, untouchable Hollywood darling is cracking, and with every failed motion, misstep, and manipulated story, Blake Lively's carefully constructed persona edges closer to collapse. Justin Baldoni's legal battle with Blake Lively has taken a shocking turn, revealing a high-stakes war over image, influence, and power. Lively claims Baldoni made unwanted advances on set, improvised kisses, uninvited visits to her makeup trailer, and even interrupted daytime breastfeeding. She alleges his team then launched a PR campaign to smear her. But Baldoni fought back with a staggering $400 million lawsuit, accusing Blake and Ryan Reynolds of spreading false narratives, attempting to hijack the film's promotion, and even dragging Taylor Swift into the drama to pressure him. What emerges is not a tale of vulnerability, but a calculated chess match of public image warfare, media manipulation, and legal maneuvering. Meanwhile, Blake's attempts to portray herself as a victim are increasingly contradicted by court documents, which cast her in a far darker light. The real collapse began with Blake's aggressive use of subpoenas as weapons. Over the course of the lawsuit, she unleashed 107 subpoenas targeting content creators, influencers, and third parties, all in an effort to prove that Baldwin's lawyer, Brian Friedman, orchestrated an elaborate smear campaign. But when the August 15th deadline arrived, the results were devastating. Nothing. Not a single creator could provide evidence supporting her claims. Over 100 people were dragged into this mess, wasting time and resources, and yet Blake walked away empty-handed. Her lawyers had long boasted to the press about overwhelming evidence and an impending courtroom triumph, but 8 months in, those subpoenas had produced nothing but smoke and mirrors. Meanwhile, Baldwin's team remained calm, professional, and strategic. They let the subpoenas speak for themselves, exposing that Blake's case was based on speculation and fabricated narratives. Even celebrity commentator Perez Hilton filed notice to the court highlighting how abusive and embarrassing Blake's filings had become. The judge agreed, issuing a stern warning that Lively's conduct was approaching contempt of court. That warning changed everything. For the first time since the lawsuit began, Blake went silent. No filings, no dramatic docket dumps, nothing. The once relentless subpoena circus, her greatest legal weapon, had exploded in her face. If that humiliation wasn't enough, recent court orders have placed Lively in an even deeper hole. She had long framed herself as seeking a protective order to guard her private information, insisting she was fighting for privacy and fairness. Yet, in a stunning twist, she was caught exposing sensitive details in public court filings. The judge had to step in, ordering Blake herself, not her legal team or opposing parties, to redact documents she had improperly filed. This wasn't a minor procedural correction. It was a public scolding, signaling that her courtroom tactics, once aggressive and relentless, were now collapsing under their own weight. Blake Lively's legal strategy, from subpoenas to PR spins, has faltered, leaving her scrambling to maintain control over a narrative that increasingly shows her actions, rather than Baldwin's, as manipulative and reckless. Blake Lively's legal tactics are unraveling, and the fallout has been as public as it is humiliating. Her reckless filings caught the attention of Perez Hilton, who publicly criticized the constant circus, calling out the way she turned the court docket into a spectacle, and the judge listened. Judge Lehman immediately put Blake on notice. No more personal attacks, no more wild accusations, no more games. He warned that continued abuses could lead to sanctions, or even contempt of court. Baldwin's legal team didn't waste a moment. Every improper filing and every cheap shot from Lively or her allies was flagged, tied directly to the judge's warning, and used to build a disciplined, strategic case against her. Blake, who had thrived on using the courtroom as a stage for her victim narrative, suddenly found that stage ripped away, leaving only the unvarnished truth. Her case is crumbling and her options are running out. The chaos became even more apparent with the Isabella Ferrer situation. Blake herself had identified Ferrer as a witness, listing her in disclosures and providing her address. Initially, Ferrer complied without issue with Blake's subpoena. But when Baldwin's team attempted to serve Ferrer with their own subpoena, the actress's lawyer suddenly refused service and accused Baldwin of harassment. The irony is stark. Blake had dragged Ferrer into the case first, issued the initial subpoena, and Ferrer complied without complaint. Now, with Baldwin requesting additional information, Ferrer claimed harassment, exposing the hypocrisy and weakness of her position. Baldwin's attorneys responded calmly, offering to drop the subpoena and stipulate that Ferrer would no longer be used as a witness. No testimony, no communications, nothing. This put Blake in an impossible position: agree and lose a key witness she originally wanted, or push and appear as the one coercing a reluctant young actress. Either choice strengthens Baldwin's position. The situation is compounded by Ferrer's past statements praising Baldwin for a safe and comfortable working experience, meaning her credibility is already shaky and potentially harmful to Blake. At this stage, the contrast between the two sides couldn't be starker. Baldwin and his legal team have remained measured, steady, and focused on the facts, while Blake and Ryan Reynolds appear frantic, sloppy, and publicly spiraling. From the start, Blake's strategy relied on chaos, daily filings, a barrage of subpoenas, and leaks to the press to frame herself as the aggrieved party. For months, this approach worked in the court of public opinion, painting Baldwin as the villain while she drew sympathy. But once Judge Lehman intervened, that strategy collapsed. The court made it clear that abusive filings could result in sanctions, subpoena powers were restricted, and the relentless PR-driven filing spree could no longer continue. In an instant, the noise stopped. The woman who couldn't go a single day without a filing fell silent, stripped of her ability to use the docket as a megaphone, forced to confront the fact that her legal and PR circus had backfired spectacularly, leaving her case exposed, her credibility at risk, and the advantage firmly in Baldwin's hands. Blake Lively has been silent for days, and that silence isn't strategy, it's panic. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni's legal team has maintained discipline, sticking strictly to evidence and court orders. Every time Blake's side attempts to stir drama, Baldoni's lawyers calmly remind the judge, This violates your order, Your Honor, building credibility with every filing. The effect is clear. The judge is paying attention, the public is paying attention, and even media outlets that once parroted Blake's victim narrative are now reporting on her contradictions, lack of evidence, and mounting legal failures. Blake tried to play this case in the court of public opinion, but that strategy has collapsed. The only court that matters now is the one with the judge, and in that arena, Justin Baldoni is winning. Ryan Reynolds, who has long relied on humor, sarcasm, and carefully polished charm as armor, is seeing that facade crack. This lawsuit is bigger than Blake alone. Ryan's fingerprints are all over it. Baldoni's legal filings allege that Blake and Ryan worked together to undermine him, spreading false stories, interfering with the promotion of It Ends With Us, and even attempting to drag Taylor Swift into the fray as a pressure tactic. These actions paint Reynolds not as a supportive husband, but as a co-conspirator. In January, Baldoni filed a $400 million countersuit accusing both Blake and Ryan of defamation, extortion, and sabotage, revealing Ryan as an active participant in a calculated campaign to damage Baldoni's reputation. While that countersuit was dismissed in June, the filings themselves exposed Ryan's involvement. Notably, Reynolds has gone silent. No viral jokes, no witty clapbacks, no funny dad posts, because humor cannot protect him here. The court documents alone tie him to manipulative and underhanded tactics, tarnishing the lovable Joker image he built over years. Ryan's brand, which relied on charm, relatability, and transparency, is now at risk of being associated with deceit and calculated smear campaigns. The combined fall of Blake and Ryan threatens to dismantle the carefully curated image of Hollywood's golden couple. Once untouchable, dominating magazine covers, late-night interviews, and internet headlines, they are now facing public scrutiny and legal setbacks that expose the cracks in their carefully constructed persona. What was once an image of perfection, charm, and control is rapidly unraveling under the weight of legal realities and documented missteps, leaving both Blake and Ryan to confront the stark possibility that their media-crafted aura may not survive the courtroom truth. The gloss surrounding Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds is gone. The media that once praised them is now circling like sharks, and the reason is clear. The narrative has collapsed. Reporters who previously repeated Blake's talking points without question are now digging into the court documents, and the truth is brutal. The subpoenas went nowhere. The harassment evidence proved flimsy at best. The judge's orders highlighted Lively's reckless filings, and in contrast, Baldoni's team remained calm, consistent, and professional. Everything Blake's side isn't. Entertainment headlines are shifting tone, too. What began as a #MeToo-style story is now described as a nightmare for Blake. Critics have noted her tone-deaf marketing around It Ends With Us, promoting hair care lines and cocktails while ignoring the film's serious abuse themes. Fans who once adored her are now questioning her motives, and Ryan's silence is being scrutinized. People notice when Hollywood's loudest jokester suddenly has nothing to say. Meanwhile, Baldoni's credibility is growing with every filing. He isn't playing games, leaking stories, or spinning narratives. He's letting the facts speak, and it's working. Gradually, the court of public opinion is tilting in his favor. This is the nightmare scenario for Blake and Ryan. A brand built on charm, marketability, and untouchability is cracking. Reality is hitting hard. After months of chaos, subpoenas, and PR spin, Blake has reached the discovery deadline with a glaring truth. She has no evidence. 8 months of filings, over 100 subpoenas, daily docket dumps designed to dominate the narrative, and still nothing proves that Justin Baldoni orchestrated a smear campaign against her. The harassment claims that once dominated headlines have dwindled to a single HR complaint about an outfit she herself approved. That isn't a case. That's desperation. The judge has already scolded her for reckless filings. The protective order she boasted about backfired, revealing her own mistakes. Her subpoena circus failed spectacularly. None of the 107 content creators produced evidence. Her witness strategy with Isabella Ferrer collapsed, leaving her trapped between forcing a reluctant actress into court or admitting she is nothing. Every misstep is immediately flagged by Baldoni's team, who calmly remind the court, "This violates your order, Your Honor." Piece by piece, they're building a record showing that Blake isn't just wrong, she's reckless. The press may have once been her ally, but now the facts are clear. The facade is cracking, and the golden couple's carefully curated empire is rapidly unraveling under the weight of evidence, court orders, and public scrutiny. Blake Lively's options are disappearing fast. She can't issue subpoenas. She can't flood the docket with abusive filings. She can't produce the evidence she's been boasting about since February. At this point, her only hope is to push the case forward and pray for sympathy, but sympathy doesn't win in court. Facts do. And the facts are stacked against her. Lively's case isn't just weak, it's collapsing. Unless a miracle happens, she's headed toward a trial she cannot win. This was meant to be Blake Lively's triumph, a carefully orchestrated spectacle where she and Ryan Reynolds controlled the narrative, painted Justin Baldoni as the villain, and emerged as Hollywood's untouchable power couple. But instead, the strategy is unraveling right before our eyes. Her subpoenas failed. The evidence never materialized. Judges scolded her for reckless filings. Witnesses she dragged into the case are backing away. And the media that once adored her glossy image is now calling her out. Blake Lively, the picture-perfect wife and mother, is being exposed as a manipulator. Ryan Reynolds, long seen as the charming, funny partner, is now shown as complicit. The golden glow they cultivated is fading fast. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni has quietly done the unthinkable, survived month after month of smear campaigns, headline after headline. He was painted as toxic, dangerous, and abusive, yet he didn't crumble. He followed the rules, stayed disciplined, and let the court filings speak for themselves. Now, as Blake and Ryan spiral, Baldoni appears stronger than ever. This isn't just about a single lawsuit, it's a warning to Hollywood. Image alone won't protect you forever. A career built on manipulation, PR spin, and half-truths will eventually be exposed. And when that happens, it doesn't matter how many magazine covers you've appeared on, how many jokes you've tweeted, or how tightly you control your brand. The truth cuts deeper than any curated image. So here we are, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, once untouchable, are watching their carefully built empire crack under the weight of their own actions. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni, the man they tried to bury, is emerging not only intact but victorious. Hollywood's golden couple is no more. The question now is whether Blake and Ryan will attempt another desperate PR maneuver to salvage their image, or if this truly marks the end of their carefully constructed empire. The fallout is unfolding in real time, and the next chapter promises even more revelations. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want the full story the mainstream media won't cover, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell, because the next explosive update in this Hollywood showdown is coming, and you'll want to be here when it drops.